Hey there, welcome to the practice for Biocode 4, the top codes all about effortless communication. That was a fantastic lesson, and I have to tell you, this is one of my favorite biocodes because of how skillfully it points out this obvious challenge we all experience every day, and that is walking around saying all the things we don't want. Dr. Jill, that is so silly when you point it out to us, yet it is very, very common. How did we get to this place that we just say what we don't want instead of what we do?
The whole thing about being homeschooled and how to communicate when things are not going according to plan really shines a light on this problem because we have this decentralized learning and we get hand me down strategies from our parents who got it from their parents and so on of how to deal with conflict or stress or disappointment leads to this complaint sheet of everything that we don't like, focusing on all the points that are not working for us instead of learning how to ask for what we do want. So it's definitely a gap. It's a missing skill set. It's in epidemic proportions on every level, no matter who you are, no matter where you serve, no matter how wealthy you are or not, no matter how educated you are. We see this missing skill set go through every single point of life, every age, every stage, every socioeconomic situation that people are in. It's clearly a disability, an inability to understand how to do this skill. So it's life changing when you learn how to start to practice it.
Yes, and this is one that just kind of gamified it in my own mind of catching all those NT words. So I know you guys are going to have a great time as you bring that awareness in and you hear the can'ts, don't, won't, shouldn'ts, all of those NT words, and you catch them coming out of your own mouth and hearing them from other people. So, another thing that keeps us stuck when learning effortless communication is taking things personally and believing that those weak words are meant to hurt. And that feels like a big lesson to overcome, Dr. Jill, recognizing those good intentions. And when someone says, Rebecca, you didn't do it the way I wanted it, it's hard not to take that personally when my name is right in it.
It sure is. It sure is. And that's the brilliance of this biocode is understanding that that is an inability coming from you. And when we see it as weakness in language more than meanness, they're coping, they're working with what they have, and that's how they learned how to communicate. When we think about it as a weakness, then we could have compassion towards the other person. When we depersonalize it and we think to ourselves, what are they asking? What's the ask? What's even the problem that we're talking about? And we put the focus on the problem instead of the person, then and only then do we stop taking things so harshly, so personally, and making other people wrong for the words that they never learned how to say. So this really is going to give you some space to move things along, to help yourself, to help other people by simply learning this new language. And it's fun once you start catching these NT words and start thinking in the what they do want. What's the good intention behind those words? Sometimes they're hidden way behind the words, but they're there. And when you start to use this skill set, you are going to start to see how much better your conversations are going to be, how much kinder people are going to start to act with you and collaborate better with you, including your own families.
Yes. And another one of my favorite parts about this biocode and really the biocode system in general is that lesson of where the words come from is where they belong to or who they belong to. It's true with behaviors and it's true with words. So again, in trying to overcome that sticking point of taking things personally, we can recognize when something came out of Sam's mouth, it belongs to Sam. Even if my name is used, it's not about me, it's about Sam. So I wonder, could we practice that a little bit? You know, we shared the example of Rebecca, you didn't do it right. Someone tells this to me. It takes some practice to realize I heard my name, but wait, that's not really about me.
That's right. And depersonalizing it is how we stop taking it personally. You know, when we take the other person out of it and it's not about you, Rebecca, then it's what is the other person really saying? What's the subject? Maybe it's a paper that you're writing. Maybe it's, you did a painting and you didn't do it right. It doesn't even matter what it is. It means Sam, in this case, wants it done differently, right? Or Sam would like it done differently, or Sam maybe prefers it to be done differently. Now, the key to this is doesn't mean you have to do it differently. You have to do what they say, but at least you're understanding what they're asking. So you could speak to the ask instead of starting to, again, prove, protect, or justify yourself or get offended by how things are said.
Yes. And when you're really able to work this translation, you can, one, recognize and depersonalize, and you can translate in your head and being able to respond back and say, oh, how would you like it? That's so, so powerful. And it does take practice. This is a challenging biocode with multiple steps. And remember, it's a practice, not a perfect, but you all can do this one moment at a time, as we say, one example at a time, and you'll get better over time. So another sticking point that's common with Biocode 4 is believing that people should know how to communicate the right way. They should know how to ask for what they want. So how does that belief handicap us?
Well, most people are under the assumption that this communication skill set comes with age, comes with stage, comes with education. But it really doesn't. It really doesn't. You know, we go to school and we're learning all this academic intelligence, and we're getting our resume pretty tight up there. But behavioral intelligence and behavioral agility of how we manage ourselves and communicate in challenging moments is again this lesson that is learned at home. And if your parents didn't have the skill set, which mine didn't, most people I meet, their parents didn't as well. You know, it's street smarts, not book smarts, right? Then it comes out in this very defensive way. So if we look at somebody who is super successful or maybe adult, and we think like, gosh, how could a person of that age, how could a person with that kind of title, how could a person who's married with children act and behave that way? Because they could be very strong on the outside, right? But the behavioral weakness on the inside, it's like the core is so weak and handicapped and crumbling on the inside. So we don't want to make the outside, we don't want to get fooled by the outside. We have to notice in those moments what's really going on. If those NT words are coming out of anybody's mouth, whether they're the smartest person on the planet or not, this is actually a behavioral weakness because of a missing skill set. And this biocode really does solve for that because it gives us empathy and compassion for the other person. It helps us to translate and extract what they're really asking for or what they would like. And it helps us to have healthy conversations to keep things moving along. And nobody has to be involved in this translation other than the person who is biocoding. So it's very, very freeing for the person who's listening or communicating. And it's super kind for the person who's in that conversation or multiple people who are in that conversation. Very helpful code.
Yes. And in this lesson, you've given us a couple key phrases to put in our toolkit and pull out to help translate. So let's talk about those phrases. I want, I'd like, I'd prefer, as a way to replace those NT words. So just to give people a quick rundown, someone asked me, do you want to go to the park today? And I say, I don't want to go to the park. How could I translate that?
Well, I mean, obviously you're saying what you don't want, right? So I know that's about you, that's not about me. But what I would be hearing is, remember, when we're biocoding, we have to take the secondary person out of it. It's only about the person that's speaking and what they want. So what I would hear from that is Rebecca would prefer to do something else. And then the way I would answer back, because that translation is in my mind now, I would say, well, what else would you like to do? Much
Yes.
nicer.
Yeah. And on the other side of that coin, if you are the person using the NT words, to try to catch yourself.
Yeah.
Someone says, do you want to go to the park and you'd prefer to do something else? Say it. I'd prefer if we could do something else. What do you think? I think so often we're not sure of the other possibility, so we just reply with the don't want. But if we take that second to just sit with our thoughts, that can make a big difference as well.
It really can. And it does take some practice. This is one of the harder bio codes to master, but it just starts with awareness. It starts with awareness by noticing that people, including ourselves, are speaking in the what we don't want, by understanding it's a weakness, not a meanness, by giving the words back and having more empathy and compassion, and then trying to think, well, what is it that they really want? What are they asking for? What's behind that? And just starting the process, you'll start to get good at it. And like any good language, practicing it over time and giving yourself space to try to learn it, even if you silently translate in your head and don't answer right away. It's like learning a new language. Give yourself space to keep playing with it. And after a while, it catches on and you get better and better at it until eventually it's basically how you think and how you speak. And most important, how you hear other people when they are speaking in the what they don't want.
Yes. Yes. So big lesson this week, guys. Lots of steps and lots of life changing skills that are now in your hands to use in your moments, in those challenging moments. So we're here for you, cheering for you as you practice this translation skill in Biocode 4 as you work toward effortless communication. Keep practicing and remember, an empowered life starts with you. You've got this, and we'll see you next time.